Hello everybody, and welcome once again to How to Study program on the Oxford TV Educational Channel. As usual, we are your hosts, Rick and
Rita. Okay, Rick, what's today's topic?
Note-taking.
Right, note-taking. It's one of those things most of us students do, but has anyone ever told you how to do it so it can be the greatest help to you? If you had teachers like mine all of your life, probably not.
Same here. Rita and I thought of this topic a few weeks ago, did some research, and found that most students don't take or use notes in the best way.
Of course, different things work better for different people, but we did manage to come up with some useful basic principles.
But first, how do we know it helps? How do we know it isn't better to listen carefully to everything the lecturer says, rather than scribble away taking notes?
Well, we found that research on note-taking has been going on since this guy, Professor C.C. Crawford, began his studies in the 1920s.
But we don't have time to tell you all about the different studies that have been done. The important thing is that most researchers agree that taking notes is better than not taking notes, and that reviewing notes is the key to their usefulness.
Both are really important. For example, in 1970, Professor Howe concluded that students were 7 times more likely to recall information 1 week after it was presented if the information had been recorded in their notes. He argued that the note-writing activity per se makes a contribution to later retention. But another important thing is that you shouldn't take notes like a human tape recorder. Listen to this, and I quote, "There is growing evidence that note-taking combined with critical thinking facilitates retention and applications of the information."
In fact, in 1979, 2 researchers found that students who took notes verbatim scored lower on comprehension tests than those who processed information at a high level, which is inhibited by taking notes this way. Similarly, in 1985, another researcher found that the most successful students thought about the relationships between the facts the lecturer told them, and the better organization of their notes reflected this process.
And putting information in different geometric figures, squares, triangles, rings, etc., like in computer programming, to stand for different functions and alternatives, improves this reorganization. Okay, now for some practical basics. You start, Rick.
1. Be prepared. Have your notebook open and pen in hand when class begins.
2. Listen for what the teacher emphasizes with words like to summarize. The main point is. And if something is written on the board, you should probably write it down.
And if something is repeated, it's probably important.
Don't try to write down every word, just the main ideas, content, and information.
And develop your own way of abbreviating words.
Go over your notes as soon as possible after class.
Underline or highlight main ideas, concepts, and information.
And last thing, reorganizing notes while reviewing leads to higher test scores.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our hospital's recreational therapy department. I'm Dr. Gillian Roberts, and I'm the department head. You all have children who have some form of disability, and your family physicians have recommended that they come here for treatment. Many people don't know very much about recreational therapy. It sounds rather like playing to get better. Well, in a way it is. But it's much more than this. So today I'll give you an overview of the basic principles and some common activities of this form of therapy. Please don't hesitate to interrupt me if you have any questions. Let me start by painting a picture in your minds. Imagine a young child with a disability and an adult splashing around, playing and laughing in a swimming pool. For the child, this happy scene is very different from the daily struggle of, for example, learning to walk without crutches. The adult is a recreational therapist. It's fun, but it's also work, and successful work as she sees the improvement in the child's balance, leg motion range, and lower body strength. Equally important, she sees that the child is slowly but surely gaining confidence. So this probably gives you an idea of what recreational therapy is all about. How about a definition? The American Therapeutic Recreation Association describes it as a healthcare and human service discipline that delivers treatment services designed to restore, remediate and/or rehabilitate functional capabilities for persons with injuries, chronic illnesses, and all types of disabling conditions. Well, that's quite a mouthful, but you can see that it covers a wide range of conditions and patients. At this hospital, we used to specialise in children under 12, while older people went to St James, very close to here. But we found that children can be encouraged by seeing adults doing similar things to what they're doing, and they also get very attached to their therapists. So now both hospitals treat both youngsters and adults, and we work very closely together, especially on research projects. OK, who are the therapists? Well, most of them are certified therapeutic recreation specialists, usually simply called recreational therapists. They're certified through the National Council for Therapeutic Recreation Certification, which requires a bachelor's degree or higher, a formal internship, and passing a certification examination. To maintain their certification, they must also participate regularly in professional education activities. Recreational therapists work in a wide range of clinical service areas, but they play an especially important role in the rehabilitation of children with disabling conditions. Their work with children includes such activities as physical play, focused on restoration or maintenance of functioning, and the one-on-one bedside play with a single child or small group activity. By the way, it seems that so far I've been talking about physical problems. In fact, our work also includes trying to help with psychological problems. For example, educational play focused on understanding upcoming surgery, dramatic or expressive play focused upon coping with fear and anxiety, and family or sibling play to help overcome such things as excessive shyness, hostility, and other emotional problems. What makes recreational therapy different from other forms of therapy? As the name suggests, it's the use of recreational activities as the mode of treatment. The treatment goals that a recreational therapist may work towards are similar to the goals of other disciplines on the rehabilitation team, but the way of achieving those goals is different. Also, the recreational therapist has a holistic perspective that includes the patient's leisure, social, cognitive, and physical needs. This means that a recreational therapist may work with a child on one or more of the following functional areas. Physical functioning. Things like mobility, strength, and motor skills. Cognitive functioning, such as attention span, memory, and problem solving. Emotional functioning. Things like self-esteem, confidence, and coping skills. Social functioning. How to communicate and interact with others. Sadly, sometimes we also have to help patients learn to manage pain. Other areas include developmental play skills, leisure interests and abilities. Well, that sounds more like something to do with recreation than the other things I just mentioned. As you can imagine, with all those different things that might need to be worked on, a recreational therapist may use a wide range of techniques to meet the needs of each child. After completing a comprehensive assessment, the recreational therapist identifies appropriate treatment goals and decides on the methods to be used. These methods might include leisure skill building, adaptive sports, aquatic therapy. I mentioned splashing around in a pool at the beginning of my talk, therapeutic art, and animal-assisted therapy. This is increasingly popular. It's wonderful how a friendly dog can do more than all the doctors in the world for some disabled kids.
Good afternoon. Can I help you?
Yes. I'd like to sign up for the intermediate course in Arabic, please.
Of course. There are 3 courses. One runs during the day. That's an intensive course that runs for 4 weeks. Then there is the weekend course, which runs for 8 weeks. Finally, the evening course runs for 12 weeks.
I'd like to join the intensive course, please. My company is posting me to Syria in 6 weeks, and I need to improve on my basic conversational Arabic before then.
I see. Have you taken a course here before?
Yes, I have. I took the Arabic refresher course during the summer. I really enjoyed it.
Do you have your registration card for that course? If so, it will speed up registration, and we can give you a 5% discount too.
I think I'd have it in my handbag. Yes, here it is. A little dog-eared, I'm afraid.
Thank you. Your name is David I'm sorry, the rest of your name is not clear.
Rivers. Rivers.
Ah, yes. OK, I have your details on the computer.
Actually, my address has changed since I took the previous course. My new address is 38 Temple Way.
Thank you. I'll just change that. Can I have your new postcode too, please?
Certainly. It's BM9 2EV. My new home telephone number is 698-4537. My mobile number is the same as before.
That's 0987 375 633.
That's right.
It says here that the teacher was very impressed with you.
Really? Ahmed was a great teacher. Is he still here?
I'm afraid not. He went back to Syria. Since you're going there, I'd love to give you his email address, but I'm afraid it's against company policy.
That's okay. I think I have his email address written on the back of the registration card. I have it on my laptop as well somewhere.
I'm sure he'd be glad to hear from an ex-student.
I'm banking on it. I wouldn't mind having a friend in Syria when I go there.
I'm sure he'll be glad to show you around. The course runs Monday to Friday from 10 to 12 and 1 to 3. 9 students have signed up so far. Is that okay?
No problem. And the cost?
£380 after your discount.
Thank you. Here's my credit card. Will the course be held in this building like last time?
Yes, it will, in classroom 4. The teacher this time is Mrs. Aziz.
Oh, I've met her. She seems well-spoken and friendly. I'm looking forward to her class already.
Oh, we've had very positive feedback from students about her classes. May I ask if you have a few minutes to answer a few questions? We're conducting a survey of our clients. It won't take long, I promise.
Oh, I'm not in a hurry. Go ahead.
The first question is about why you chose to study Arabic. I've got your answer to that one. How did you first hear about our school?
Well, I saw a newspaper advertisement. I think it was in the Standard, and then I mentioned it in conversation with a friend who had studied French here, and she said she was very happy with the course.
Oh, I see. What was your friend's name?
Mary Wright with a W.
Wright. Thank you. Do you think you would be interested in taking courses other than in Arabic?
I doubt it. I need to speak a little French and German in my line of work, but I speak those languages to an acceptable level. So further improvement is unnecessary. I've always been interested in learning an Oriental language, like Chinese, but I don't really need either, so...
What is important to you when selecting a school? Could you put these 5 items in order, please? 1 indicates the most important.
Teachers is top of my list for sure. Recommendations from others. Yes, that's next. Teaching materials. No. Location. Then admin staff. I think a good teacher can make use of even quite poor materials, so that would be the least important to me.
Any other important points that are not on the list?
A welcoming reception area. Group size, perhaps up to 12 students. That's a big attraction for me. It creates a better atmosphere, friendlier, more personal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. Here's a complimentary English-Arabic pocket dictionary with our thanks.